Hi guys, Rene here. Today I have finally been able to go out on my new cross bike for the first time, and I want to share my first impressions with you. So this is basically a very sharp looking Boone RSL frame set completed with a custom build spec. And for the frame itself and the way it rides, now this is no gravel adventure bike. This is super sharp handling, very confidence inspiring cyclocross race bike, and I would definitely not recommend it for riders looking to do big gravel adventures on this. First because of the handling, it's very stable at high speed, but also very flickable and very sharp, so that might be a bit tiresome on long rides. And the fit is also quite racy. If you look at it, quite a lot of drop in there, so not an adventure bike as some of you might been asking. Then it also lacks fender and extra bottle mounts, and the clearance is designed around 33C tires clearly, so no 40 or 50 mil tires on this one. So if you're looking for an adventure bike, then the money might be more up your street. Now as for the rest of the bike, I have actually been very surprised by the way this bike rides. So the first thing you notice, or what I noticed, is the extreme power transfer. I think it's even better than the Madone or the Monda I have ridden before. That might just be down to the through-axle system, and possibly that. The chainstays and seat stays are also flattened, and despite having the ISO-speed decoupler in the rear, which makes for an extremely smooth ride, it just goes like a scalded cat if you stomp on the pedals. So I was extremely impressed by that. Then for the ISO speed itself, some would say perhaps that it can make a bike too soft, but it's definitely tuned to have just the right amount of flex, which is a lot for cyclocross. And it's not actually a comfort thing in my opinion on a cross bike, it's more of a speed thing, because my previous cross bike, it wasn't very compliant or well designed at all, and sometimes when I was going over rough stuff and I wanted to go fast, I really struggled to put the power down. Whereas on this bike, I feel like I were on a full suspension mountain bike compared to that. So it definitely makes and flexes in all the right directions without affecting the power transfer or the handling. Now, the handling, as I've mentioned, quite quick, very responsive, very quick to turn, and very easy to judge. Even on the brakes, my previous bike had this annoying tendency for the fork to bend backwards when I was hard on the brakes, so I couldn't really judge my entry point and my brake distance. Whereas this one tracks extremely well, spot on, phenomenal amount of grip, even compared to a mountain bike. So I think that's just down to the extremely clever way that this frame is designed to flex in. Now the front ISO speed, perhaps not as noticeable, certainly not in a negative way, but when you feel it working, or when you think it's working, is when you hit a big bump and you can hear the sort of clunk that goes into the frame, but it just doesn't arrive. The feeling doesn't arrive at your hands, and that might also partly be down to the more freed up layup of the integrated bar and stem, so you don't have this interface which is causing extra stiffness in there, and the two materials, when they are together, they are not able to flex in a way to absorb the load, where this one is a single piece and it definitely can cancel out some vibration. And also has very nice ergonomics and an extremely low weight, so win-win all around. Yeah, so that's for the handling. another annoyance I had with my previous bike is that the brake mounts weren't very true to the rotor, and that caused the braking action to be squeaky and not powerful. No problems on this one, very high quality, very good tolerances in there, so definitely a good thing. Of course, in my previous video I've already explained the extremely nice paint job on this one. So now I'll go through the spec a bit. I was very surprised with the wheel set. I was trying out different tire pressures today, and even at just 18 psi I got no burps. So, and I think that's down to the clever way Zip have designed this tubeless rim, because even if you want to change the tire, it's extremely hard to get off. Easy to get on, but then if you inflate it, it has a special bead, so it clings on like a terrified infant. So extremely impressed with it so far, but more on that later on. SRAM force on group set, stellar performance from that. Having ridden across like course today, I really don't want to mess around with the front derailleur off-road, to be honest, so very good choice. Braking, reliable, predictable, no problems there. Of course, you don't really want anything else than hydro discs, in my opinion. Then chain catcher together with narrow wide wing, very good chain security, no chain slap at all. And as you can see, the chain stays quite low down and very far from the chain, even in the tallest gear. So I think there's no way there's going to be any chain slap, which is a good thing. The bike is super silent, and that's how it should be. Now, one thing I'm not so impressed with are the pedals. I thought these are going to be much easier to clip into after remounting, but maybe I just need some more practice. But I feel that my old Shimano XTR pedals with the platform on them were much easier to locate and clip into, but that's just a personal thing and maybe requires a bit of practice. Then the cork, of course, it just works. Perhaps not so super important on a cross bike, but I like to have my power on anyway if I do some longer rides. Force on derailleur, right there with the clutch, so you don't get the chain slap, very good security. And I also use Jaguar Elite Link no compression cables, which make the shifting blisteringly fast both ways. And it's, when you set it up this way, no friction, almost no friction I say, and it shifts faster than electronic, just a fact. I also have red E-tap on my road bike and mechanical red with the same system on my TT bike, and both this and mechanical red shift faster than E-tap, so very, very nice. Yeah, another thing I got new for this bike is the saddle. I wanted to use my Serrano, but it broke, so Trek sent out a new Montrose Pro for me, which is basically its replacement, and I was worried that it might not suit my butt all that well, but it's designed for the same aggressive posture in Boone RSL peak, and also has a pressure relief channel and quite a lot of give in it. So that's definitely a nice thing when remounting the bike, and I'm really happy with it so far. Now this is my training setup, so I have a saddlebag on there with some spares, bottle cage, and 1136 force cassette. For racing, obviously I'm going to remove these two, and I'm going to put on an 1132 red cassette, which is machined from a single block of steel, and it's half the weight. So that way I'm going to be sub 7.5 kilos. Okay, so these are my first impressions from the brand new Trek Boone. Excellent bike all around. Now if you'd like to see further on how this bike fares in racing and long term, then don't forget to tune into my channel later on and subscribe. And You can also see some setup tips from my other bikes for road and time trialing. It's all for today. Thanks for watching and see you next time.